Hello everybody, going short track racing for the first time here in Season 2 of 2022 in the Late Auto Open Series. This is the Open Setup
Pit
one
lane
here
speed
at
limit is
Langley
30
Speedway.
miles per hour. Track's clear. Push,
Trying to
push, push.
do these Open
Okay,
Series
Jake, we've
for
got
short
to
track
laps at
as
a
my
decent
main
time.
focus for Season 2 of 22. Again, remember, I think I mentioned it before in a video, I am building setups for Team Goon Squad. We are starting them now. So, gonna be kind of showing you guys how those setups look with a moderately talented driver. Kind of just middle of the pack is what I feel like I am. So, certainly, you know, they can be better than what I make them look, but it kind of gives you an idea of how they're going to look in race conditions. So, this one should be available out later tonight on the website or sometime tomorrow for download. So, not making the qualifying trim look all that great, but not terrible. We caught a middle of the split. I think there's only 13 cars in this race, but certainly able to pick up some time. 185, a little bit of better lap. Moves us up to third. I will take that. Car number 6, again, out of 12, actually. So pretty happy to be there. There's about a 10th difference between almost the front four. So should be third place probably should be where we finish if everything runs clean. I want at least a top 5 for sure. Just it's going to be short track racing. I struggle at times to drive here, so I'm going to flip over to the race setup though. Struggle at times to drive here. You know, flat tracks are not my strongest suit. So it's going to try to do the best I can with it, and hopefully get a good start. At least starting on the inside, that's helpful. Obviously, with this being a short track, typically inside lane is the favored lane, so that hopefully should play to my strengths. Maybe I don't think I'll be fast enough to get by the two, but maybe can try to get a good start, get by him, see if we can run second, and
the track temp is 95,
you know, hang in somewhere.
the air temp is 83 Fahrenheit.
Should be a decent race. 45 laps will be pretty quick, but you know, certainly not going to want to
car number 01 in the inside lane.
Push it any more than necessary. Got to keep the tires as cool as possible. The setup's slightly loose to start, but pretty neutral overall. It does a pretty good job of staying fairly neutral. So pretty happy with that. Like I said, there's probably a lot of people that can make the setup look even better than I will. But yeah, pretty excited to do this. I feel like I'm a lot better at building setups than I am at driving. So want to try to help get some more people in the open setup, get them both good setups to run in these series, as well as the knowledge base on, you know, how to tweak them to themselves, or eventually start being able to build their own as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. I actually tried to get one of these done before and ended up getting wrecked going into turn 3 in it, and finished quite a bit back from where I was running. So I was contending for a top 5 finish, and I think I ended up finishing like 8th or something like that after the wreck. So I just wanted to see if I could get another one in that was a little bit cleaner and a little bit better of a race to show you guys what the setup can really do over the full 45 laps. So I'm going to be getting ready to go here shortly. Pace car is going to be pulling off.
Get ready.
One car is off and rolling.
Green, green, green.
Trying to work to the inside of the 2. Typically, you want to take a little bit of a higher entry, especially into turn number 1. 2 car just does a big cut down, makes contact with her, and we're just going to let him by. There's no reason, if he's going to drive that aggressive, to hold him up. And based on the qualifying times, he should be faster than us. So setup is definitely loose. If you overdrive it like I just did there going into turn number 2, it will easily rotate. I will pull up F3 relative shortly here. Just want to get reestablished. There we go, but yeah, running in third. 1 and 2 are probably going to be gone. Like I said, I think the setup's capable of running much faster than I do it, so you know, I'm not doing it enough justice for what I think it's capable of doing, but comfortable lead over the 3 right now, just over half a second, and we've already got the 5 who is off the pace on the inside. I think he might be coming out of pit lane, so stay high to avoid him. We'll see if setup doesn't fall off as much as the guys up front, if we can close back up to the 2 at some point. He's about half a second back from the 1. We are about a second back from him. And just about a second ahead of the 3. So we'll see if that can stay pretty constant. Just not turning great laps, just kind of getting into my rhythm, just trying to start hit consistent lines. It's my big goal for this year is to really start working on my consistency to try to you know, cut off time off my slowest laps and minimize the time difference between my fastest lap and my slowest lap in a run or a race. I really feel like that's where I need to focus a lot on to take my driving skills to the next level. That consistency will help me find a lot of speed on the track and get better finishes. Everybody's kind of spreading out, kind of expected to see that based on the qualifying times. Like I said, there was about a tenth or so in between the top 4 guys in qualifying times, so sometimes you can translate those qualifying times to expected race pace, and you know, they kind of would show that happening. So may not make for the most competitive race, at least compared to what we did in the ARCA race, but makes it a little bit easier to try to get a clean race in, see if I can get another 0x out of it, and really still, you know, be able to focus on just hitting my lines and truly evaluate the race conditions. As I say that, I just push out of turn 2 and get the outside wall. Thankfully no incident points, but a little bit of right front damage. Don't think it should affect the car all that much. Cannot make those kind of mistakes though if I want to step up. Looks like 2 might have just done that though, or if he didn't brush the wall, it was very, very close. Sitting at about a second back from him. 1 car is just gone, he's 2 seconds ahead, and we're about 2 seconds ahead of the 3, so really no pressure from behind as I we're tried the middle of 1 and 2. Cost me some time to the 2, but yeah, we'll just have to see as the run goes if we start closing that gap down on the 2 or if it stays at, you know, the same gap. Need to make sure I'm entering a little bit later into turn 1. Turn 3 you can get away with entering a little bit tighter than you do in 1 here at Langley. The big goal is still to just let the car roll through the center of the corner, wait to pick up the throttle, and then get back on it. I find for me, with the way I built the setup, light brake pressure and a longer drag is a little bit more preferred than trying to slam on it and shift the weight too far forward too quickly entering into the corners. So just keeps it help plan it a little bit better. Yeah, feels pretty good. Brush the wall again, just me losing it. Got in a little too hot there into turn 3, that's why the car kind of kicked out a little bit, but able to keep it under control. Losing just a tiny bit of time to the 2, but gap's staying fairly consistent, so not too unhappy with that, especially considering, again, we are car number 6, so we're supposed to be couple spots back from where we are. I think qualifying effort is what's helping big time. We probably could have gotten by some of the guys behind, but obviously would have taken a lot more time, would have been tougher. Big gap though, 3.5 seconds back to the 7. The 3's actually really falling back, so he's not even in the top 5 anymore.
Track temperature's rising. It's now 101 Fahrenheit.
Track temperature's coming up quite a bit from where it was when I qualified. I think it started at like 92 degrees or something like that, but it's also cooler than what I tested in when I built the setup, so you know, it's not, I don't think it's going to make the car too loose or anything like that. I tend to try to exaggerate the extremes when I build setups and test in them, because I think it's easier to adjust down than it is to handle it the other direction. That's just my own philosophy that I do.
Okay, Jake, you're reeling. Catalano.
Definitely closing into the 2. Not sure if he's just having mistakes or if his car's starting to fall off a little bit. We've picked up a couple tenths the last couple of laps.
Just done a 16.
No shot for the 1. He is absolutely gone. I'll be happy to just finish half a lap down to him, but certainly going to try my best to see if I can get a shot at the 2, see if we can get a second place out of this. Just got to continue to run smooth laps, try to be as consistent as possible. Make sure I don't make any mistakes. And that way, if he makes any mistakes, we can try to take advantage of it. And again, big thing, tire wear is a little bit of a factor in these, not a ton, but the temperature is the bigger issue with these, to make sure you keep the right front temperature down. So, like I said, with the setup being pretty neutral to a little bit loose, it's going to heat up the right rear a little bit more potentially. So, shouldn't be as big of a concern, but I don't want to be diving the thing in and sliding it around. So, can see he had an issue off of turn 2. The last lap we were able to pick up about 2 tenths this time.
Laps of fuel left. lap time
halfway
was
through.
16.56.
Should be right on the edge for fuel, but should probably be okay.
Your last lap time was at
2 definitely pulled away a little bit that
16.63.
lap, but I think if he continues to make any more mistakes, we'll certainly have a chance at getting to him, and lap traffic may or may not help that cause, possibly.
That lap was
Passing
at
here definitely could be difficult. You really
16.53.
kind of have to let somebody make a mistake to get underneath them, but we'll see what we can do. Let's try to do the best I can to close up to him.
1.00.
Got it down to just under a second that time by. Really just trying to do the best I can to wait on it through the center of 1 and 2. Got a couple lap cars up here ahead, the 12 and the 11. Picked up the route a little too early there through the middle of 3 and 4, pushed out a little bit, had to wait on it coming out, so that allowed the 2 to pull away a little bit.
16.62.
We are certainly closing up on him, though. It's kind of seesawing back and forth depending on who makes the mistake. Just see how we both handle the lap traffic, who's able to get through it cleaner. That's going to give one of us the advantage, I'm sure. Got almost a 5-second lead over the 9 behind, so I'm not too worried about how quickly I get through the lap traffic. Don't want to lose time to the 2 if possible, but it's not like I have to worry about a battle behind. 2 gets a little bit of contact with the 12. Not sure if he made contact or if he just got loose trying to dive underneath him going into 1 and 2. You saw the 12 get a little loose up front too. Not sure if he overdrove it in the corner or if there was contact between the 2 and the 12, but the 2 goes to the bottom side to get by the 12. I'm going to try to do the same thing if I can. See if I can just follow him through. 12 comes down off the wall out of turn 2. Just going to try to get the inside clear him as quickly as possible. 2's definitely going to be pushing to try to get by the 11 as quickly as possible since we are close to him. 11 moves way high. Allows us to get by him without any issues. Thank you to him for that. We certainly navigated through that a little bit better than the 2 did, so that heightens up the gap. It's just over half a second this time by. The gap to the 1 has stayed pretty consistent. I entered way too shallow that time through 1 and 2. It's going to allow the 2 to get a much better run down the backstretch. Just got to focus on my line and not what the 2's doing. You can see by making that mistake, the 1 was able to pull away a little bit. 2 also pulled away. 2's spinning out, and I tried to go underneath and got into him. Oh, that was completely on me. So now I make it look like a complete idiot. Complete idiot by doing that. I thought he was going to lock the brakes and stay down. I should have slammed on the brakes and gotten to the outside to go around him. I saw that one. That was a slow, lazy spin. That was my fault for not making a better effort to avoid him. So, unfortunately, not going to get the 0x. I was just stupid on my part. Should have been able to tell that he was going to continue coming down the track. So, we've got 10 to go this time. The gap to the 9 is down to a second. Got some right front damage. Thankfully, no meatball. I don't think it's going to be slow enough that the 9's going to be able to get by, but I'm just going to drive and try to protect second as best as I can. It wasn't anything I did with the 2. He just literally got into 1 and 2 and lost it. And like I said, I tried to cut to the apron and just unfortunately went the wrong direction. Should have reacted, and as I saw him coming down the track, you know, hit the brakes and got into his outside, gotten by on the right side, but not much I could do that way. 9 is closing down a little bit. 8/10 is the gap. We've got 8 to go. It's it could be a good battle for second. Unfortunately, I think the car might be slow enough, but
The gap to Daniel.
I should be able to drive it clean enough to try to keep him back there. Got it back up to 0.9, so he is the only one that's close. The 4 is another almost full second behind the 9, so not really worried that way. Deal with the 12 if we get to him in time. Could be a good finish in second. Obviously not what I wanted. Wanted to get the 0x out of it, but you know, not much I could do. Well, there was a lot I could do there, but not much I can do about it now, other than just make sure I don't make that same decision again. I feel like I'm making progress in some areas, and then I do something like that, and it kind of feels like I, you know, take a step back. So just got to constantly evaluate and try to do the best that I can to, you know, run the cleanest that I can and make better race decisions. We've got 4 to go. Want to try to find the way around the 12. He's a bit slow. Got the 9 catching up, so don't want to get held up too much and run the risk of losing second. 12 and the 11. Well, 12 hasn't shown the propensity to want to get out of the way the 11 has. Get to the inside of the 12. A little bit of contact between him and I coming down the backstretch. He just literally did not want to give room at all, so he did the same thing with the 2 the first time we tried to get by him as well. I was just fortunate enough that he was already high when I went to get by him.
Keep it together. We'll be on the
I drive it in way too hot in the 1, so able thankfully to keep it under control. We're going to get the white flag this time by 1, just absolutely cruises away with the wind. We had no shot at him even if the issue with the 2 hadn't happened, but should be a second place finish. Just going to ride behind the 11. Got enough of a gap back to the 9 that I don't need to worry about pushing it.
17.30.
And going to come across turn 4 and get the second place finish. So outside of that issue with the 2, felt like it was a decent drive. Obviously overdrove the corner a little bit. You can see if you do that with the setup, it can obviously have problems, but overall not a bad run. Certainly by far not the fastest, but did not feel bad. I think we were probably second fastest on the track. It definitely felt better than the faster than the 2 did. So let's take a look at that issue really quick and see what I could have done differently. Just, I don't know, it was my fault for sure, but backing up a lap before, was catching the 2 slowly, just, you know, he was making mistakes, overdrove. You could see he overdrove 3 and 4 that way, and I was trying to do what I could to make sure I didn't have that issue. He just gets too low into 1, too hot into it, and starts losing it, and then here's the issue that I have. So I see him up high. Was kind of thinking right then and there he was going to lock the brakes down and stay up there. So that's when I decided to try to get to the inside, you know, and come down this area to get by him. And just didn't quite turn down enough. And you can see he's actually on the gas right there. You can see him spinning out. So that was the point where at that point I committed to the move and I had nowhere to go. So you know, 4X that I kind of could have controlled because I easily could have tried to slam it to the right. I was just so afraid with how much I had the wheel turned if I tried to go to the right that I was just going to head straight in the outside wall and lose it that way. So, I don't know, kind of a racing deal, kind of avoid it. But unfortunately, I also think the 2 probably should have just locked it down and held the brakes there instead of trying to get on the gas and do anything. So I think he was trying to salvage what positions he could out of it. Unfortunately, that didn't seem to happen. So feel free to let me know what you guys would have done there. Love to hear the feedback. Love to hear an alternative thought on what I could have done better. Obviously, I could have done a lot better there. Just you know, something I just gotta to learn and file and remember the next time I'm in that situation. But yeah, not too bad. So let's take a look at the results. I think my guess would be the safety rating probably is going to go down, but iRating should go back up. I think I lost like 20 or 30 points in the last late model race, so you'll see it a little bit lower than where we started. Top split race at 2, pretty weak strength of field, 23-26. But you know, it's what you get when you're not on the peak time. So well, probably would have been a lot closer to the 1. You know, probably would have been a tenth off or so a lap instead of, you know, the almost 3/10 a lap off. We were about a tenth and a half off on fast lap, but certainly I felt like I might have been a little bit better on the back end, not falling off quite as bad. So it probably would have been, you know, the average lap would have been a tenth to a tenth and a half off, something like that, had we not had the issue with the 2. So not a ton I could do about that, but able to pick up 73, so just over 2,500. Glad that's going in the right direction. Actually able to pick up 0.03, so basically break even, so up to 2.9. So slowly climbing there. Hopefully soon should be able to get the 0.4 bump and get over 3.0 and keep working towards the 4.0 to get back to A license in this. I feel like, you know, for the most part, I'm driving a lot smarter so far this season and got the pace a little bit. So hopefully it'll be a good sign of things to come the rest of the season. And hopefully you guys are able to download the setup from the Team Goon Squad website. Like I said, should be out either later tonight or tomorrow sometime. I will have a link in the description box for that. You should see that go active. It is a completely free setup this week. It'll have the race trim that I ran, the qualifying trim, as well as the setup sheet and notes to kind of let you know little nuances, as well as you know, I don't know if I'll give you guys a comparison to see, you know, how you compare to me and see how much you can beat me by. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Feel free to leave your feedback. Would love to hear from you guys. Just love hearing from you guys in general. Hopefully you enjoy that. I know we weren't around cars the whole time, but we were catching the 2. That could have been a pretty fun battle for the last 15 laps or so in the race if things had played out a little bit differently. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Try to get more out. Like I said, this focus is going to be a little more short track series this season for setup building and for some of the stuff that I'm doing just to get back a little to my roots, be a little more comfortable, have some fun, and hopefully start seeing some positive results. And hopefully you guys will enjoy that. So until the next one, I hope all your laps are fast, your races are clean, and your finishes are good. Thanks for watching.